We are Mike and Jeannie, and we restore old houses. In 2021, we moved to South Carolina and bought a 120-year-old Victorian house. Follow along as we put the polish back on this Victorian masterpiece.
Today's program is sponsored by the generous support of our patrons. Your support helps to further our historic preservation efforts. For more information, visit patreon.com/1834 Restoration House. Welcome back to 1834 Restoration House. For those that are new subscribers, thank you so much for subscribing. We are all about restoration and doing it the right way.
So last week, we were digging around in here trying to clean this up. Our goal was just to clean it up. We dug down and we found that there was an old brick catchment system here for water drainage. And so we dug that out, and it's been several days since we last touched it, and it's still wet. The soil down there was just soaked. You've heard of landscaping. Landscaping is putting plants and flowers in the ground. Hardscaping is where you're doing landscaping except with brick, stone, mortar, sand, that kind of thing. That's called hardscaping. And originally there was a little bit of hardscaping here where the bricks came around and followed the curve around the corner. But most of those were either broken up or buried and in really bad shape. So we dug them out last week. This week, we're going to prepare the bed here and then excavate, because later today, we're expecting a delivery of some bricks from a brickyard. And being in the South, bricks are plentiful. Everybody's house has brick on it, practically. And our house, not so much.
Well, we have brick down here.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
Let's fire up the tractor and see if we can't get this dirt out of here. Our goal right now is just to shave that lump down, kind of get it smooth as much as possible. Now, a tractor is not a bulldozer, and there's only so much that it can cut. So it's really good for just scraping off a little bit of the surface, a little at a time. Fortunately, this is fairly soft. So I'm going to go back over it again and take out just a last little bit, and then we'll get on to the next part.
Okay, good. Back. How does it look?
Oops. I left it in gear. For you watching at home, the reason the tractor shut off is because I stood up while it was in gear, and it sensed that and it said, nope, done.
It's a great safety feature.
It's a great safety feature. Now, if I had put it in neutral, it wouldn't have done that. Starting at the edge of the bricks right here, we'll dig a trench that goes out 6 inches this way, about half of a foot deep. And we'll take that trench all the way along here, and we'll go around the corner and all the way over to there. I'm going to use stakes to measure out where to dig. So I took one stake and I measured 6 inches from the end here. So that represents the 6-inch wide trench that will butt up against the brick catchment. So I'm going to take 2 more stakes and put nails in them. I think I'll go about 8 inches. It's not super critical, but they need to be fairly close. Here's the stick with the green tape at 6 inches. We'll lay that on there so it's touching the edge of the brickwork. I have my stake with the nail in it. The nail will face towards the brickwork. And we'll go ahead and just pick a point there and just drive it in. All right, we're on the other end, and I'm doing the same thing here. Put the stake up there till it touches the brick, or at least eyeballs with it. We'll put our other stake right here at 6 inches. I'm just doing a double knot. It doesn't have to be super tight. A couple of times around the nail, and then cut off the excess. And then double knot. The old-time masons use natural twine, and so are we. Unfortunately, with a trench this narrow, there has to be a little bit of handwork involved. Luckily, this is all very soft, so I'm just chopping it up with the matic and then just scooping it out. And we're only going down about 6 inches, so it's not really too much trouble. This is wonderful soil here. Very loose. And then we get down to, right about here, we start getting down to clay. Now I've got to be sure that I don't mess up my string here, because the string is my guideline. And so the string, it can't be held up on something like this. You see how that would hold the string up? We can't have that, so the string needs to fall free at all times. Sounds like the neighbors are doing some construction. This is incredible soil here. I don't know what they put in here, but it sure is not native Carolina clay, that's for sure. Here's the trench after a little bit of digging. We're taking it down about 6 inches below the top of the brickwork that's right next to it. And we're just shoving it aside. And as we've been going, we occasionally come across some roots. Well, that's no big deal. We just take our tree saw and we just cut the root out and keep going. But look at this thing here. Here was a root that came this way, ran up against the brick, couldn't get through the brick, and so it just turned a sharp 90-degree corner and kept on going. So this root heads this way. I have no idea how far back it goes, but that is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Well, it's a very warm day here in South Carolina, and we've got a lot of convective activity going on around us. I've got thunderclouds over there, thunderclouds over there, and we had some back behind us a few minutes ago, and they were rumbling pretty hard. And I'm getting a couple of raindrops on me, but there's really nothing overhead to speak of in the way of rain clouds. So it'll just pass right over. But it does kind of make a guy feel good to get a little bit of raindrops on a hot day. Wow.
It may do half the trench for us.
I know. I'm not sure if this is a tree root or one of our shrubs that we tore out. I'm not sure. Let me turn that blade around so I can get to the bottom. Alrighty. Oops.
Oh, wait.
Got it. Okay, here we go. Huh. Looks like it's headed downhill. That's about as far as I can dig realistically without losing our stake. So let me see. I think I might be able to just twist that out of there. Well, there it is.
Feels like summer's already here. The humidity today is pretty high. I think it's only 84 today, but that humidity is making it hotter. Oh, more roots. So I think we'll only be doing this in the morning to noon, and then taking the rest of the day to do stuff inside.
Well, this is so exciting. We got this whole area cleaned out. We got it staked, trenched, and now that section is done. And now we've gone ahead and gone around the curve here. And so how we did that was we have our 6-inch marker, and we put our stakes in at regular intervals around the corner, 6 inches away from the brickwork. Remember from calculus class that if you take a number of straight lines and you make them small enough, you can make a curve out of anything. And so that's what we did here. Well, look what showed up. I was hoping to catch this on camera when the delivery guy came, but we just weren't prepared. And anyway, so these are what they call 2 cubes of bricks. There's about 1,000 of them here, give or take a few. And we also got a couple bags of mortar, and we have some sacks of concrete up there. So I think we're good to go. Let me just bring this brick up here and show it to you. When we visited the brickyard, I asked for a plain clay traditional brick, and that's exactly what we got. Just like that, an old traditional clay finish, which is prevalent here in the South. You see it everywhere. It's not an absolutely perfect identical match. You never really can get that, but I think it's pretty good. I think that'll work great. We had to take a couple of days off due to weather. We had a huge storm roll through here, and gale force winds, and a lot of stuff on the ground. I don't know if you can see it, but there's oak leaves everywhere, including down inside our trench. But anyway, the weather has come back to neutral. It's a nice cool day, maybe a little too cool, but we're going to get back to work and see if we can't get this trench finished.
Another root, it sounds like.
What's that?
Yep.
Another root?
Another root.
Wow. That seems to be a thing here. Okay, we have another root down here, so we just keep cutting those out. During the rainstorm, some of the bricks got wet, and we can actually see what they're supposed to look like. So we're looking forward to getting them clean.
It's about that big around. I'm trying to get to this other side here and get it cleared up a little, and the ground is so wet, it's hard to get the soil separated.
Yeah, it's interesting, like when the soil is dry, really dry, it's like concrete. When it's wet, it's almost like concrete, but when it's kind of semi-moist, it's just really light and fluffy. So we'll take the tree saw here and see about getting that root cut. I'm going to come at it from the other direction.
Alrighty.
Because of the angle.
Sounds good.
All right, here we go. That's much better.
That's a tough root.
That is. Wow. He keeps grabbing my saw.
I think it's going that way.
Yeah. That's pretty funny. I wonder if that's a continuation of the one we pulled out earlier.
I think so. I think it's that one that you had that was really long and thick over there. This is the other end of it. Can you get the saw and cut it right here?
How far does it go? I mean, where does it go?
I don't know.
And then just have to excavate a little bit of this out.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, let's move that. There you go.
Yep, we'll lose a little bit of trench there, but that's all right.
At least we'll get it out of our trench.
Yeah, I don't think you guys could see that, but let me show you what we pulled out of there. This is what we pulled out.
This is exciting. Look at how beautiful that looks. We're not done yet, but it looks so good. Right now, we've got it dug out. We need to straighten up our sides, make sure it's deep enough and wide enough, and then we can pour our cement.
Now I'm measuring the width. We're 6 inches deep and 6 inches wide. We're only going to put a few inches down in the bottom of concrete, and then we'll start building the brickwork up from there. Everything's looking really good. For being a hand-dug trench, that's not too bad. The original concept for this planter calls for having a brick wall that goes around there, and that boxes in the water catchment, and then any water will flow that way. Then we have to figure out how far to go this way. Well, we think we might want to go to about here. But how do we know for sure? And the answer to that is do what a mason would do. I built up some bricks down inside here to raise up a platform. Then I'm going to take a brick and lay it on like so. And then we'll just do a layout and kind of simulate as close as we can to where the wall would be. And look at that, it just actually seems to work out pretty well. Just like that. And that's almost flush with the front of the stairs.
That's pretty nice.
That is pretty nice. And so that's how you do it, because you don't want to be cutting bricks if you don't have to. So lay it out in such a way that you're using whole bricks and leaving a gap for the mortar. Now we need to make a measuring stick that is from here to here long, and we'll use that as a guide. A rake.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's lightweight.
It is.
You get the tape. And we'll mark it.
So we'll mark it there so that the edge,
lines up with the brick.
Right, and that's where we dig. I just wanted to take a moment and show you where we're at. So we mark this out with our string line, and I've been chopping at it with the mattock, and then Jeannie goes and pulls all the loose soil out and tosses it into a pile. Once we've done that, we can see where we're at. And then I go back and chop out some more, and then we'll just do that 2 or 3 times until we get down to the level we want to be at. Now, one of the issues we have to be careful of is that trench has a certain elevation. We have to make sure that this trench has the exact same elevation as that one, otherwise our planter will be lopsided, and we don't want a lopsided planter. We came across another monster root. I cut one side of the root with a pole saw. It ended up burning a lot of calories, and I don't really want to do that again, so let's try the Sawzall and see if that works. Well, that was a little bit faster. That's incredible. We talked about the importance of making sure that the bottom of the trenches are at the same elevation. And this is what I come up with as a test fixture. I have a piece of aluminum here, which is a straight edge. And then I measured these 2 boards to be the same length. So I clamped the boards on here at exactly 1 foot against the straight edge. Then I take a bubble level. So now, all I have to do is come down here, set it in the bottom, and take a look. where we are. We're just pretty close, actually, very close to being perfect. Here's another route. Like that.
Isn't it looking beautiful? It's exciting. I can almost picture the beds right here. Oh, it's gonna be beautiful. So we got most of the trenching done. We just gotta go around the corner and we'll be done with this one.
Well, thank you guys for stopping by. We're gonna stop for the night. And I think it's a good time to cut the episode here and get this thing edited and put on YouTube. But one thing is for sure, there's always something going on around here. You never know what it might be from one episode to the next. But we try to keep it real, try to keep it interesting. And we appreciate all you guys stopping by every week.
Thank you for watching 1834 Restoration House.